It's as if you're asking that the hamburgers that you're going to be buying and the cars that you're going to be buying are going to go up in price. In fact, through something that's, it's actually the technical term for it is dollar cost averaging. If, in fact, the price goes down, your money goes even further. You can buy more shares, and you can put a little example down of how even when the market is very volatile and doesn't go up at all, you can make money because you've bought more shares when the market was down. And one of the simulations that I've done is take a decade of the first decade of the 2000s, which has been called by investors the lost decade, because in general, if you put money in the S&P 500 on January 1st of 2000 and looked at what it was worth on December 31st of 2009, you didn't make any money. That was the second decade's been pretty good, but the first decade was terrible. But if you put money in every quarter regularly, you actually made a pretty good rate of return even during the lost decade. So what I try to tell people is generally put the money in steadily. Nobody can time the market. Professionals can't do it. Look, I've been in this game for 50 years. I've never known anyone who could time the market. I've never known anyone who knows anyone who could time the market. It's not that the efficient market hypothesis means that prices are always right, and that's how some people poo-poo the idea. Prices are not always right. They're always wrong. The problem is no one knows for sure whether they're too high or too low.
Yeah, I think what I love about that advice is, it highlights actually good financial fundamentals. It turns out the most important thing for young people is just to be saving. They save regularly, put it in the market. It's actually better for them if the market has up and down, because they'll get some of the downs. True, you get some of the ups, but the long-term trend is obviously their friend. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll just adjust that a little bit. Saving is number one.
Yes.
Not getting excited, either at the top or at the bottom, is number two. And then regular investing, ho-hum, steady, 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 number three. And it works out fabulously. But it takes some self-discipline when the excitement around you and all the people are talking and the newspapers and magazines and television programs are talking about it. This may be the last chance to get in on wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, well.
And it's very hard not to get deeply concerned when you see the whole economy's falling apart, Asia's going wrong, Europe's going wrong, the president's having a terrible time, the president's wife is unhappy with him, your wife is unhappy with you, and your friends are all deeply concerned, and the food doesn't taste good. It's pretty hard not to get depressed, but you got to hang in there, because that's the time of your best chance of your lifetime.
And control the things that you can control. You can't control the ups and downs of the market. You can control your costs. You can control your taxes that you pay. And you can use the best friend you've got for reducing risk, and that's diversifying. Mm-hmm. So diversify, control the things that you can control, and as much as the market might fluctuate, don't worry about it. You'll come out okay.
I think it's such good advice. Ironically, I think in some ways we've made it harder on ourselves in this generation. We all have smartphones in our pockets. They buzz all the time. We're checking our feeds, whether it's Google Plus or Facebook or Twitter. There's stuff happening all the time. So learning that basic fact that there are some things you can control and some things you can't. It's really important with investing.
One thing that gives an easy metric on this is never do nothing that you're not prepared to hold on to for at least 10 years, whatever it is.
10 years. Well, I think, actually, it's a good segue. You did an interview, I think, recently with, was it Investor News or
Institutional
Investor, where you talked, I think the title of the article was, Is Alpha Dead, right? And I mean, compared to 40 years ago, do you feel like, is it the same as it's always been? Has it got even harder to beat the market? Is it, How do you reflect?
50 years ago, it was relatively easy to do better than the market rate of return because the competition wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
Today, the competition is just marvelous. Every time you buy from somebody who knows a hell of a lot about it. Every time you sell something, you're selling it to somebody who knows a hell of a lot about it. They may make mistakes, but how smart are you that you won't have made at least about the same number of mistakes, plus the cost of being there in the activity. So the world has changed, and Keynes said one wonderful sentence: when the facts change, I change my mind. What do you do about yours? And it's worth thinking about. And the world of investing has changed, and so what would be sensible 50 years ago could now be not at all sensible. And all the evidence is that it doesn't work to do what would have worked 50 years ago.